Hello everybody, this is the thejonnymar, and welcome to my latest series, and that is the first in what I'm calling my Childhood Revenge series, where I go back and play through games that I played as a kid but was never able to beat. And the first game in that series is going to be a game based on one of my favorite cartoons as a kid, and that was Darkwing Duck. So we have this wonderful platformer for the original Nintendo, and of course it has a pretty catchy and close approximation of the theme song for that game as well. So it is a Capcom platformer in the vein of DuckTales and also Mega Man, so you know it's going to be a pretty good game. It's part of their Disney line for the original NES that is actually quite a few of really good games, quite enjoyable platformers, very tight controls, good boss design, and good level design as well. So like most games, you get to choose which level you want to use or go to first. We're going to choose the Quacker Jack on the bridge level. So each level you do have to take on, a level related to a particular part of St. Canard. That is the name of the city that Darkwing protects, as we're going to get dangerous here. And our standard controls are shooting, jumping, and Darkwing actually has the ability to use his cape as a bit of a shield as well. So that is useful when you're fighting enemies that have projectiles. It can't block everything, but it can block certain attacks, usually guns, which is interesting. You know, this cloth cape can actually block bullets from guns, but it can't stop other things like a shell that you'll see a little bit later in the game. But we have these pretty crazy looking, almost turtle-like creatures. We have bats coming up here. One of the cool things about these bats is you can actually just hang on the little girder here and shoot them. So that works out pretty well. And one thing you do have to be aware of with this game is that a lot of the levels are going to use this mechanic of hanging on things, and not all of these are perfect. So there are quite a few times where usually the box is pretty large in terms of where you can grab onto whatever the item is you're supposed to hang from, but sometimes it's pretty small and you will miss it and end up falling into a pit. Not really of your own kind of skill, it's just kind of how the game is designed. Sometimes the hitbox is a little bit off from where you would expect it to be. But we have each of these levels highlighting a different area of St. Canard, and then at the end of each level, you're taking on one of the bosses from the television show, which is, of course, one of the villains. So you'll take on 4 of the Fearsome 5, and I'll show off the blocking here with these Sniper Joe wannabes. They take 4 shots. You'll notice there are these glowing materials. Those are gas containers. So you get a couple different types of gas you can use with Darkwing's gas gun. For those of you that have seen the series, he does use a gas gun as his primary modes of apprehending, I guess, criminals, besides his martial arts as well. So you have Thunder Gas, which shoots 2 lightning bolts, so I can't shoot this stupid slug. And then you also have Hard Gas, which is what I currently have. That drops a bullet to the ground that'll shoot in 2 directions. And then the most powerful gas in the game is the Arrow Gas, which will shoot an arrow into the wall. So we take on Quacker Jack, the first of the bosses here. So you're just gonna hang down from the platform here and shoot hard gas at him as you avoid the banana peels from his little sidekick up above. Quacker Jack is, of course, the Joker-like character from this particular series. I think he takes about 6 or 7 shots from the hard gas, and there he goes. Down he goes. So my goal is to take on 2 of these levels at a time per episode. There are 7 levels in total in this game. You have 3 in the first kind of area that you get to choose from, then a second 3, and then the final area, which is, of course, the most difficult level in the game, and in many ways the most difficult boss as well. So now we're going to take on Wolfduck. So yeah, most of the bosses in this game are pretty popular characters from the series. You're going to take on 4 of the Fearsome 5, So you're going to take on Quacker Jack, Megavolt Liquidator, Bushroot. You're not going to take on Negaduck, unfortunately. And then you have a couple other characters that you have to take on as well. Those are Moliarty and also Wolfduck. So in this level we have some new hazards. We have these tires that we have to sort of go on. And then we have these flying foul agents. Foul, of course, stands for the Fiendish Organization for World Larceny. And then you have to be careful of the banana peels because they will temporarily make you vulnerable. And I'll show that off here because really it's hard to get over this and that enemy without getting hit. So I'm just going to take the banana peel shot and then I will jump over him. A lot of these levels are actually mostly skippable if you just kind of speed run through them. So I'm going to play the game completely for the most part. Again, my goal is to beat this game. I was never able to do it as a kid. I actually have only beaten it one time, and that was a couple of months ago, actually. So again, the point of this series is to play older games that I was never able to beat as a child to show that, of course, I can beat them today with my improved skill of adulthood. And the main point I got stuck at with this game was, well, the final area and also one of the bosses. So Moliarty in this game is pretty tough to beat if you don't know exactly what to do. So you can actually climb up and get that health restore up there by using the arrow gas. Just shoot one arrow into the bottom of that building to the left and you can jump on the arrow and go up to the health restore. This level is very unique in a lot of ways. It has some of these very interesting mechanics like these balloons that are not in any of the other levels. So, you know, it's cool to be able to do some of these things. And if you miss the balloon, you can actually use those lampposts down there to get across. Now these enemies are also interesting. You have to shoot them directly in their head to kill them. If you shoot them in their neck or below, it just knocks them down temporarily. So viewers, did any of you watch the Darkwing Duck series? I quite enjoyed it as a child. I've always been into superheroes. My favorite superhero series is and always will be Batman, but I enjoy the Disney variants of things. Was really into DuckTales and of course Darkwing Duck as well. I do have the DVD sets for this, although I haven't gone back and watched most of the episodes. I watched about half of the first volume. And actually I was able to get one of those bouncing foul agents to despawn, which is pretty cool. But I don't think your cape can block those turtle shells. That's what I was talking about before. It can block these bullets from the foul agents, but you cannot block a turtle shell. So the cloth is only so powerful. But we're almost to the end of the level here. We have this agent to take out. You really could just jump over him, and then we are at Wolfduck, who's a very interesting boss character. So when he is in his kind of increased size here, he is invulnerable. So notice the cloud will move over the moon up there, and then now you can actually damage him. And he will jump at you and throw little blocks at you. And you have to hit him with, again, about 6 or 7 shots from the arrow gas. That'll kill him. Otherwise, you can also shoot him with your regular gas. So he is almost dead. Arrow takes 3 gas pellets. You notice it dropped there when I switched to a different gas. Each of them works a little differently. But that is it for the first 2 levels. So in my next episode, we will continue onward. I hope you enjoyed as I showed off the first 2 levels of this series. And hopefully we will be able to beat the game to really rub my past self's nose in it, right? To show that I could actually do it. So next time we will take on Liquidator and start the second half of the game. So as always, viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all next time. So long!